Yeah. Yeah. Making sure the tablets are wide, I might try and make sure I've got my bearings right. He didn't call you, you know. He didn't call you,
What's the best?
he just think.
He said call. Yeah, I just chucked him before.
Just call?
Yeah, he called. I'm saying I didn't say wrong.
Let's say just call.
Eight's live at least in your heart.
Are we calling for cards, boys?
Sweet. Oh,
Not a diamond? How's the chicken, Higo? Well, we were sorry for the delay in getting back here. Higo wanted a snack. Higo's hungry. You don't get quads like that by not eating the protein that you need per day.
That's it, man. Subscribe to Deep Root to learn.
Anybody we recognize at this table, boys?
My very good friend, Hamish Crawshaw, just lost a huge pot there. But I've known him for about 10 years now. Since I very first started playing, very first Aussie Millions playing poker, I met Hamish. He's one of my best friends from poker, that's for sure. I've been in New Zealand a couple of times actually and grinded some online series with him and stuff. Definitely was hoping for that queen to just pop off on the turn there or something, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. Hamish made one of the sickest folds ever in last year in actually this very tournament.
I remember it, yeah.
You remember it, Jordan? It was...
I remember commentating on it.
Okay, I remember it because it's imprinted in my brain. But basically, it was I think maybe there was like 7 left in this tournament, and average stack was maybe about like 13 bigs or something, and the cutoff limps for off about 12 bigs, and Hamish checks back off about 18 bigs, Queen 7-0, and the board comes like Queen 10, 5 rainbow, and he checks, and the guy bets like 1.3 bigs, and Hamish just check folds the flop, and the guy said aces. He just read that guy's.
If I remember correctly, it was on a break. So literally the break began, and everybody had left the table, and Hamish was in the tank, and I was like, oh, this hand's going to take a while, and then it's mutt. I'm like, what the?
And that was one of the. I mean, when I saw that happen, I was very glad of all the previous spots that happened. That way. Wow. He's just God mode there for sure.
So we are back in the booth with Luke Martinelli, Igor Seibel, and Lachlan Acrilli. If you guys have any questions, we've got Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch all open. Boys, is there anybody out there that you're still cheering on? Obviously, you were just chatting about Hamish, but is there anybody else that you guys want to see win this one?
I wouldn't mind DJ Hamish.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure who's really left. If I had a scan on the field, I could probably say, but I know Tom Amir's still in there. There's a couple of boys I can't even think of, but honestly, anyone, anyone's a good person. Go for it. You're a good person, you can win. You're a bad person, hope you bust.
Okay.
Elma?
Well, and I'm rooting for Hamish.
Right.
I would say that. I'm going to be very biased in my commentary right now. So whenever Hamish is all in, I will be only rooting for him.
Yeah.
I can promise you that.
He got a very, very important question here for you. Obviously, it's been a very tumultuous year. You've had a number of things going on, and there's a lot of stuff that you've worked on. But importantly, how's the chicken?
It's actually unbelievable.
Really? It's good.
Good, yeah.
I've had a bit of hit and miss. Is that chicken from the front desk or whatever? I've had a few hit and misses with that. Well, one time I got it, it was very dry. Like, I don't know if that was just my...
I think it's helpful that he goes on his 3rd or 4th drink,
Oh,
so it's going down quite well.
Okay.
That makes sense.
The one downside for having commentary back in the dungeon, like I like to say, is that we don't have a waitress or a waiter that just regularly kind of swings by.
Can APL not swing that?
Well,
Or, like,
also I said to the higher ups that for next year maybe we need to organise a bar tab just for the commentary crew.
Oh, yeah.
So that I can keep
That sounds
convincing you guys
pretty
to come
chill.
in and chat nonsense with us.
Yeah. Well, Hamish is all in. He's all in for his 200k. 250k, 4.5 bigs.
Jack 7 suited Hamish.
Mm-hmm.
Waiting for you to say the R word.
And he's
Really?
He had like 4.5 bigs, probably thinking that he's going to be going through the big blind ante.
Let's see.
And he's in good
Ace
shape. He's in good shape.
You got any pre-info about this one? Or?
Jack.
All right, that sounds like pre-info to me. Let's see what happens.
Let's see.
Well, 9 window, 9
window.
five.
Oh, yeah.
A backdoor spades only. Not today. GG
GG.
in the chat.
He books up.
Nick McLean's asking the question for Igor. When are you going to go and start crushing overseas? Don't forget to speak into the mic.
Overseas, like, is he considering like Asia as overseas? You reckon?
I mean, Vegas, I guess, is probably the main
Vegas.
overseas spot, right?
No, I'm not super incentivized about Vegas. I think Vegas is. I do have a Brazilian passport, so it's like same in Australia, 30%, whatever. when you're looking like EV wise, so you have to actually plan the food trip, so flights, accommodation, food, everything, and you'd be able to make way more money flying around Asia or even flying in Australia than go for Vegas. I think Vegas is. I've never been. I'm definitely keen to go at
You haven't
some
been to Vegas?
stage. No,
really?
never been, yeah.
That's surprising.
Really?
Well, Riri, yeah. I thought you would have shown your head
No,
up there at
never
one
been.
point.
No, never been. I was gonna go this year, so I literally I said to my wife, it's like I'm gonna book the tickets for World Cup. So I booked Brazil for like all the games to the final. If I choose to get in the draw for the World Cup and choose to be able to buy the tickets, then I'm going for WSOP and World Cup. So then I ran bad, so I couldn't get the tickets.
Fair
I
enough.
decided to stay home.
That was one of the fun things about the WSP this year, actually. Like the World Cup was on all the different
Yeah.
screens, and there were different. Everyone was rooting for it and stuff.
Yeah, but I think if you live in Australia, in my opinion, it doesn't make that much sense going to America. You could literally just go in Asia, play a bigger average buying USD with the biggest ROI and no tax.
I think so. Yeah, I think the tax in America really,
Yeah, really changed the whole
really
thing.
makes it hard to play there too much.
Yeah.
It was funny when I was in Vegas a few years ago. I remember being there when the Golden Knights won the NHL when they won the Stanley Cup. Were you there for the parade and the strip?
What year was that?
23, I think.
23. I might have been there, but I might have just been like marinating my room
Yeah.
rather than enjoying the.
Yeah. Because I remember I
The
was
parade.
like 2023. I was like, dude, with the amount of stuff going on in America right now, I don't want to be in a public area with lots of people. That sounds like the low place to be. So I didn't go. I ended up just playing catch at South Point. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Vegas can be a
I
little
share
bit
your.
chaotic for
Yeah.
Yeah, that when you're in America, there's definitely that's always in the back of your mind, unfortunately.
I just realised that we've actually got Dion at the table, who's no stranger to flicking in calls with hands that he probably should. Pocket Fives is going to call off Pocket Jacks here for what looks to be 8 bigs or so.
Seems more reasonable than
Yeah, I mean,
whatever
yeah.
the average outcome would be.
Yep. As he goes down to another piece of chicken. I'm going to have to vacuum this place soon. Messed up. Queen 77. Booster clubs on the turn. Jackson not live. Blocked by the Jackson. Clubs are not live. Blocked by the Jacks. 7 of hearts on the end. Full double for the Jacks. Takes himself up to around 1.2 million, I think.
435.
No, 990k.
So Timo came second last year in the same event, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Timon did the game second in this event.
Yeah, we had this conversation at our place, the really Nathaniel. So, and we had to pick like one winner for the main event, right? So, who'd you go with, Brittany?
I reckon, I don't know what it is. It's just pure vibes. I just feel like Kenta from Sydney's going to win.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I can't tell you why. He won't be someone Australian because you look up on there, there's no Australians who's ever won.
That is
Just
weird,
how it
isn't
is.
it?
You just cap.
That is weird.
I'm going for Timo. That was my first pick since
Wh-
we spoke.
Where's Timor from? What country?
Germany.
He's German. Okay.
Timon is from Germany.
Yeah.
And what about you, Luke? Who do you reckon is going to take it out apart from yourself?
Who's gonna win the main event?
Yeah, and not Katie either. You can't
Okay.
be saying
Who's gonna win the main event?
Just vibes.
just purely from a vibe.
Purely
standpoint.
vibes. You know what? I think I'm gonna go with Amin. I'm gonna go with Amin for a not back to back. What is it? There's a one gap, a double. Yeah, I have a feeling about him. He's been doing weird things this series.
Doesn't sound like him.
He's been vibing like the way that he's been playing. I don't know. I feel like he's gonna come in again for at least a deep run. Let's put it that way.
Has he had any other deep runs so far this series, or is
That-
he just
that's
been
why I'm
bricking it?
That's why I'm predicting.
He FT'd one tournament, right?
Yeah, me and him FT'd the Monster Freeze.
Yeah.
He came fourth. He ran pretty bad. He was short stuck in that one. That was one of the only FTs I've seen where he's like not had. He only had 10 bigs the whole FT. And if you know Amin at all, like, that is it's a very rare.
Yeah.
He's the kind of guy that comes to the FT with like all the chips on.
Yep.
He doesn't make the FT exactly. But he did navigate that 10 BB stack pretty well for players.
Yeah. I have a feeling that somebody like JP Rounce is going to
JP, JP, he's on a bit of a heater at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. JP is probably just going to end up on the FT with like 4 bigs and then come second or something. Is what's going to happen
Who knows, man?
with like 400.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, when you are heads up for the amount of money that you were, obviously, we heard no deal was made last year. Not going to ask questions. But what was it like playing for that amount of money in a heads up spot? It must have been pretty ridiculous. And you had no fear, man. You ran that triple with the Jack Deuce offsuit, I think it was.
Yeah. Well, to make very clear, I was keen to make a deal. So not shames on it at all. So I wanted to make a deal on the heads up. Cooper just didn't want to do at all.
Wow, okay.
Which is like I respect a lot. He has the
Sucks
balls.
to be Cooper.
Yeah. And I mean, as soon as he said no, it felt like all the pressure goes into him. So
Yeah.
I literally was playing, okay, I'm just going to play my game now, and I have no pressure at all. So, yeah, that's all I remember, like having no pressure and just playing
I think we wound up 27.
my best, I guess.
Yeah. It was a 300k heads up, right?
270, yeah.
It's quite the heads up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luke, have you had the opportunity to play a heads up that big? I know you've played a fair bit. You had a deep run at the Hard Rock over in the US. I can't remember if you ran.
Oh, I didn't go deep enough to get heads up for 300k. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think my biggest heads up match has maybe been online for maybe like 100k or so,
Yeah,
like
wow.
AUD-ish.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've never really. I didn't go for the chop in that spot.
Yeah.
But no, I've never really had a 300k heads up spot. So I mean, I'm assuming it's pretty sick. Look at that.
Yeah. And Krilly, I'm going to ask you as well, but I'm going to be honest. I think I've seen you play online heads up with more in play than tournament heads ups. No comment.
Yeah, I probably played like some heads up cash that is relatively big. I've never actually been in too many big spots in tournaments. I'd say. I guess closest was like
Yes.
a third.
Yes.
A third for a six-figure score, but other than that, it's just never had any deep runs in anything big. So no big heads up battles, I'd say.
Do you guys have any like kind of white whale or golden goose type things that you still think about in your poker career that you haven't quite achieved yet? Obviously, everybody usually says like the bracelet is like one thing that nobody's really kind of achieved that they always want to. But is there anything specific that in your poker career lifestyle, kind of life that you've had so far that you haven't done yet that you really, really want to take part in?
I mean, for me personally, I'm not really too. I don't like to attach myself to goals like that too much
Sure.
because they're so random. Basically.
Random esoteric
You know,
stuff,
like
yeah.
if you went to Vegas and be like, I really want to win a bracelet this year, like you're gonna end up disappointed like 99 times out of 100.
Yeah.
Basically, like it's basically pure chance whether you win or lose.
99 times out of 100. So what you're saying is year 2, you're there.
Oh, exactly. But so yeah, I'm not really too. I think all the spots that I've had in my career over the last 10 years or so, it's just they are what they are. I mean, sometimes you run good and you win, and sometimes you don't run good and you come fifth. Sometimes you run good and come fifth. Like it's just like it's all just so. I don't really like to.
Think about that kind of stuff.
Exactly, because you just go crazy.
Yeah.
If you like really thought that you should win all these different spots or not win or whatever it is, like you go insane.
Yeah.
So
All right.
that's how I
All
approach
right.
those spots.
Then to strip that back a little bit, is there any location or event that you haven't had the opportunity to play with that you would like to? Any EPT over in Europe? Obviously, you've played in Vegas. Is Triton on your radar? Kind of what's kind of peeking its head out that you haven't quite gotten to yet that is something that you're kind of aspiring to eventually get the chance to play?
That's a good question. I wouldn't mind playing Trident one time. A few of my friends, like Vincent and Josh and Cully, they play Trident quite a bit, and it seems like they've had a bit of success there and stuff like that. I mean, it seems like it would be fun to play there every now and again. Whether that's like valuable to do as like a full-time endeavor or like to actually make the maximum amount of money, it's like obviously up for debate. You're playing against the best players in the world in like some quite turbo structures, but like doing that stuff would definitely be fun. I mean, I wouldn't be against playing a lot of stuff like that, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with like what I've played so far, I guess.
Before we get on to Igor's answer, just a couple of comments from YouTube. Firstly, Grizzly Outdoors Australia says, Krilly runs like a god online. My account said so.
Probably reasonable.
Yeah, probably reasonable.
Can't complain.
And we've got a message from 5-Bet Bluff Troy, who can only be one man, the UTH King himself. I love Krilly, Luke, and Hegor. They are the regs that have sort of followed in my footsteps of crushing hard.
Ooh,
Yeah, big words from Troy there.
absolutely.
Yeah. Where are the red and yellow cards? All right, Hegor, what about you? What's the spot that you kind of haven't quite played?
Yeah. I think like what Luke said, the mentality is super greatly and very professional. Because I've seen, from my experience, a lot of Brazilians, they play online. And they kind of drink way too much. Like they want to win a bracelet or they want to play Trident. And realistically, it's just poker is more like a long-term journey than trying to win a tournament or a bracelet or a ring or something. So I think the mentality is you have to be around making the best decision, playing the best tournaments, and sometimes, most of the times, the best tournaments won't be the ones that if you win, you get a bracelet. So I'm in the same page with Luke. I actually don't have much that I dream about winning a bracelet. Obviously, it would have been very interesting to win. I went to Trident this year and the experience was insane. So I remember I bubbled the final table for like a big spot for me, and I felt it was a bit of devastating at the time because I was coming as chip leader in the final table, and the Trident title is very the trophy itself. It's super nice. So I wasn't thinking much about the trophy, but it would have been like very unique moment winning like a Trident event in the first time I ever played, and there's not many Brazilians that actually has a title. There's like maybe a couple or maybe three. It would have been like unique, so that's definitely I'll be definitely back for Trident next year, March, and yeah, that's one of my stops for next year. And I never played EPT, so I definitely want to play one full series of EPT in Barcelona or something.
What about you, Krilly? Obviously, life's a little bit different now, but is there any one kind of area that you want to get to at some point in your poker career?
I think more so now it's transitioning in a position where I'm comfortable and able to just travel and enjoy playing more so than grinding as much. So I'd love to go, travel overseas, play on the Asian scene, go down and find out what Trident 1's like, flick some of those, which would be cool. I think the boys are pretty much bang on as well. You'd actually go insane if you had all these like goals about winning trophies and rings and bracelets and stuff. But if it does arrive, you're just grateful for it. But like for me, I don't have any goals. Like I want to win a bracelet. It's just if it happens, cool. If it doesn't, all good.
Yeah. Obviously, seeing so many of the guys that we all kind of grew up watching playing the Triton events. Obviously, you got like Jay Kuhn firing the events. He got inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. It's a bit of a random one. It's a bit of a side tangent. Do you guys have any thoughts on the Hall of Fame? Is there any specific poker player that you feel like should be in there that maybe isn't in there just yet? It's such a random left field question, but
don't ask me.
Off the back of Triton, it just popped into mind. I wasn't sure. Yeah. We're not going to see you cheering for Zivalevsky or anything, trying to get into the Hall of Fame, or
I think he's a great player, but I don't think that...
I mainly meant Hegor as the Brazilian.
Oh, sure. Yeah, true.
I wish, I do follow him very closely. He's my favorite. He's number one. He's like such a good father. Christian, such a good dude. I wish he might get there, but by maybe being a Brazilian, it might never happen. It is realistic, but yeah, if there's someone that it could be in Hall of Fame, I think it's definitely him. Yeah. But I'm not really into it, so I don't even know 5 names in Hall of Fame to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. Getting into the action, there is still a poker tournament going on. We've got the Queen Jack coming along against the King Jack. Turn card is the 3 of spades.
Has King Jack called the small blind on the flop?
I see you've never played with Dion.
I wouldn't try that at home. I will say that much.
Yeah. Dion does not like to mess about.
It does work out from here. He does take it down with the best hand.
Well, just before he found to defend the 10-5 suited against 10-8, found a flop Queen 4 and just dropped the pot.
Really?
Took it away.
I did miss that.
We're going to see some spicy stuff.
This is an interesting day with them because Timo as well plays off the books as well. So it'll be interesting to see how blind versus blind.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if somebody like Nick Oberman is able to find a double ball because he's obviously a very, very competent player. So if he gets up to that 30 big blind mark and is able to play a 60 big blind pot with somebody like Dion, curious to see kind of where the chips end up in that one.
Do you know who this Cameron guy is? He's got 76 big blinds.
No.
He's got, that's one of the great things about APL. Isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
randoms.
Just people who, I mean, you know, he might be a pub poker player, or that might be his first tournament. He's got 4.6 million chips and
Well,
one of the biggest tournaments of the year.
It's really funny. We were talking about it yesterday. There was Craig Banyan, who has won 3 trophies already this series and decided to drop in the Centurion and came like 30th
Yeah.
off the back of absolutely nowhere, just
Yeah.
somehow like putting everybody in the bin. Found a massive pot against Angel,
Paris.
actually. Yeah.
Paris as well.
Paris as well, yeah.
insane.
Oh, was that pocket threes versus?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was okay. Paris he was lamenting at Anthony.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
like, how do I actually play this one? That was actually a very tough spot for him.
Yeah.
I was at the table at the moment, so I was very locked in. So I felt him, like I felt how bad Paris was feeling at the moment.
Yeah.
And we both had the same feelings. Like he was,
Play a lot of hands.
yeah.
So you probably would have called that King Queen suit in that spot.
I would have followed myself.
You would call yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't play.
I
Honestly,
I said the same thing to him when he messaged me.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's hard to say without knowing exactly the spot
Yep.
in real time, or whatever. But
I honestly, there's a lot of spots where it's like two balls run, and then sometimes you lean to forward the call. That spot specifically, I would forward myself, but
It's tough.
I
It's
do
tough.
not blame
It's
him,
tough.
bro, because
Yeah.
I've seen that guy going nuts.
yeah. And he was kind of going
He
nuts in the
was,
hand,
yeah.
right? He had
You were
pocket
ahead,
threes.
yeah.
That was pretty wild.
It's kind of funny. All series I've been getting in my head mixed up Timon and Nick because they've both got very similar kind of hair things going on, and we are going to see them in their
And
hand
now
right
they're clashing. And
Yeah, Queen Nine of
it looks-
Diamonds
it
on a
looks like
Jack
it's
5
gonna
deuce
go
flop.
all in on the flop.
Yeah.
You can see why.
You got Noodles up against, well, Noodles.
I think I want to see a double here from Nick, so Nick can play.
But you don't think we just play check raise, get it in?
Oh, 100%.
You got a lot of fun hairstyles.
Yeah.
Now that I think
PK
about it.
as well.
We've got the bucket hat and the perfectly trimmed
Yeah.
beard going on as
Is
well.
this another yellow bucket hat?
No,
I don't think so.
This is just a separate
I think
entity?
it's different. Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause there's a few of them going around. I saw
Yeah.
Isaac wearing a green bucket hat earlier.
Yep.
You know, Isaac.
It looks like Nick does just fine
He
check
does
jam as
yeah,
opposed to check
gets
raise,
snapped
and we
off.
are going to get snapped off. He's going to have to locate himself a diamond or a queen on the turn. Waste no
Coming.
time.
Bang.
4 of
There is.
diamonds.
There he is. Snap.
Finds a diamond really quickly.
No.
I don't get that, by the way. Do we want to? Okay, let's just
The rear?
Really?
No.
It's interesting. I often have a lot of questions as Elmar's up and about. All right, maybe I'll press pause on that question for now. Full double there. And what other events are you guys excited for? Obviously, we've got the main event, we've got the 5K. As maybe whilst he's away, you can steal that microphone and just lean into it while you're talking. But for the main event, we've got the 5K. Is there any other events other than those ones that you guys might have your eyes on?
Me, no. Just try and bag the main, and then if we don't, into the 5K. I think Igor's similar thing, but he might have to play a few for player of the series.
Yep.
Look, we are leading the series right now. Wrong, so.
Oh, are we? Obviously, there was no chop in the main. Is there going to be any kind of money or conversations about that leading into the last day?
It's on already.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
We do have a decent swap for the series, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to let everybody know. Everybody's going to find out. Hey, Tan, sitting fourth in chips.
Yeah.
Just so you know, the chop's on.
Chops on, John. Unlike you,
Who,
buddy.
who do you reckon in the poker scene has like one of the best stare downs?
I hate a stare down. It's so
There's a few of
cringe.
them on, there's a few of them on the circuit that love the stare downs.
Yeah.
Who have you guys played with that just loves a stare down?
I personally like it. I think there's in live scene there's a lot of tails, so I'm a big fan of staring and trying to get as much as possible.
It's funny, when I think of stare downs, I don't think of any Australians. I just think of like Timex or like some of those guys, like the old school guys that would just like stare at people forever and just
Yeah.
like,
Well, one of the like when it comes first person that comes to mind for me is like Alex Foxon. Alex Foxon, when you're playing with him, I mean, in
yeah,
the
all of
Bahamas-
us have played with Alex Fox
Oh,
and Luke.
sorry.
Yeah, of course.
I have played with him a couple of times, and he definitely makes you feel like every decision you make. Is
I mean,
kind of,
to be
like,
fair, the
under
guy's built like a fridge. So
I
he
know,
scared the
he
hell out
is.
of me as well.
He's a bit of a brick house, I suppose.
What about you, Krilly? You brought this up. Who do you reckon?
I mean, yeah, Luke's right. Some of those American guys are pretty hectic, like Chance Cornuth.
Oh, they love it. They love it. They
love
love
that
it.
stuff. I mean, in the Australian scene, I know Adam Carmen loves one. He loves it. He's got some googly eyes. I know Tom Amir loves one. Even Nick you play with Nick, he will look at him already. He's staring down. I know him and Hegel had like a 5-minute stare down in one pot, eye to eye locked.
It might be love.
It was C2 and C4, and they were next to each other. Just I'm not moving.
how
Like,
romantic.
Okay, so out of curiosity, how's your neck up?
I was in pain.
You guys want a massage? Best hands massage? Is it so obviously you guys, actually I might press pause. Imran with ace 10 offsuit finds the raise. Richard has run deep in a few tournaments. He's been on this feature table a bunch. Made that sick hero against Hoppy in the mystery bounty earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, with pocket twos. I think I saw that
Yep.
very briefly.
I think he's just going to find a 20 people on a rip, and I don't know how you guys are going to feel about that one.
I think this one's okay. This one's definitely, as far as the other ones that we've seen so far, I think jamming is considered, asking us is very reasonable.
If I was in a big and Luke was open under the gun, I would never jam this.
Yeah.
Just saying.
If you think that your opponent might put it in with some worse hands, maybe you can give it the induce. But if you think they're going to call a bit too much, then I think jamming is just not the correct play. And I don't know Imran that much, but if I had to guess, and you 3-bet to 5.5 bigs, I imagine that he would probably flat you a little bit too much. So I think jamming is probably the correct play.
We're getting a clarification on the counts. He's trying to see exactly how much more he has to put in to be able to make the call.
1280 and run. 1,280,000.
You're really only going to be flipping here or crushed, I suppose. So occasionally you'll catch a nice queen jack or king 10 suited kind of hand, but most of the time you're going to be in pretty bad shape. So I think ace 10 should be probably a fold.
I've got that smash. I'll be next.
And he does let it go. Off the back of the stare
Nice
downs and a
fold,
couple of the
yeah.
other Australian poker guys that we've spoken about, a question that I always get when I'm doing commentary is who are the best poker players in Australia?
I'm not.
Now, obviously, you guys, I can already see you kind of recoiling in your seat when the question pops up. Rather than answering who you think is the best, who do you think is an underrated poker player in Australia? Or somebody that maybe doesn't get the recognition that they probably should for the ability that they have?
So how do we know?
And I want to ask you guys, because obviously you guys are gonna have the inside scoop, you know?
It would probably just be online guys that come to and from series here and there where people don't really see the names, but they see the same guys winning live. So someone like, I don't know, like Stephen Chu, like extremely good, but a lot of people on the live scene just wouldn't even know who he is.
Yeah, unless they I suppose.
A funny thing about Steven Chu is last year at the 5K, Nang came up to me and it's like, oh, who's that guy on seat 6? And I looked, there was Chu, and it's like, oh, that's Chu. He's a cash game recreational, right? It's like, yeah, let's call it a cash game recreation, yeah. And I literally went back to Chu and said that to him. He was like, who the fuck is this guy?
It's kind of funny because I'm not sure if is it public knowledge what crew Chu works with, and I want to kind of spill things.
I'm not really too sure exactly, but
Yeah.
he's obviously been like an online OG for like
Yeah.
Probably over 10 years at this point.
Yeah.
And when you're crushing online for that long, it's just like you just up and down.
Yeah.
That's it, really.
So we had the conversation with Higo earlier about being involved in like a crew. Is that something that you guys have ever been kind of curious about being involved in, to be able to look at potentially being a part of a stable or look at kind of group coaching in that kind of setting? Really, Luke?
I don't know about like a stable, but I think if you're like coming up in poker, the best way to improve is definitely to be like around poker players who are like around your skill level, but like maybe slightly better than you. That's probably the best way to improve a poker, I would say. Just because, they get there's no real other way to. I mean, apart from hiring a coach, I suppose. But
At
like,
Deep Blue Poker.
yeah, exactly. at deeplypoker.com, exactly. But yeah, I've never myself been like part of a stable or like really staked or anything like that. But everyone has to like work about what their own kind of circumstances and situations are in terms of like bankroll management and like, the skill level and like how they want to improve and stuff like that. But yeah, I think finding a good group of friends who are around your skill level is the best way to improve because you all kind of like push each other to like the next level. It's happened to me at least when I was like 22, 23.
It's really crazy that you say that when you're mates with Macaulay and that guy sucks.
Yeah, well, I mean, when Collie was first coming up, I mean, like me and him were pretty.
Do you remember AP? Do you remember Aussie Millions 2020?
I don't remember exactly.
So I was playing with Macaulay during that series. It was my first ever poker series.
Sure.
I was playing this like syndicate thing where I came second in the syndicate for the course of the year, and that got me like 3 tickets into 3 different events.
Okay.
And I was staying with Macaulay, and I was there, and he was like, "Oh," I was like, "Oh, what's that room for?" And he goes, "Oh, that's for Luke. He's not staying here right now, but that is his room that he's booked and he's paid for." I'm like, "Okay, fair enough." And I bumped into you a couple of times, and I was like, "Oh, what's up? What's going on?" It's like, I'm sleeping in your room at the moment. I don't want to, like, if I'm snoring, I don't want to be the other guy. He's like, "All right." I don't know what you were doing the whole time. But,
I mean, me, like I've known Josh for a very long time. He's what I would say about Josh is he's definitely one of the he's probably the highest volume grinder like possibly like in the world. I mean, he's definitely up there. I mean, like if you wanted to do like tables per session, he's probably like I mean he's got to be.
like people use the phrase "put in the reps," right?
I mean,
Macaulay's.
Oh, we got a big hand here.
Yeah, it looks like we got pocket jacks on the button after the Ace King open from Timon.
Timon kind of run into a big flip here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what Dion is doing here with A-set offsuit.
Dion's just along for the ride, you know.
I guess
he's just there for the vibes.
And this is kind of why, I mean, playing a hand like this is just not going to be a play.
What were you going to say, Krilly?
Yeah, he just ain't come here to fold.
Jax does serve it. Jax could have decided to just open jam here. He's decided to induce, I suppose. I think Ace King kind of has a decision part of jamming, and he's instantly. that was quite the snap jam. Yeah, and we're gonna see an all-in confrontation here, I suppose.
Yep.
He's not happy about it, but you kind of just have to put once you committed this much of your chips, you kind of just have to put it in. Which is why I kind of prefer jam here, I think.
Yeah.
Instead of just inducing. If you're not gonna like snap it in because you think that maybe you're gonna induce something, maybe you just wanna just jam and get the maximum amount of fold equity pre-flop. But let's see what he does here. I would hate a fold. I'll put that way. I would say that way.
I think he'll end up calling. He just
I think so. Too.
hates his life and goes, all right, I have to call now.
And he does call.
Yeah. I think that goes to your point as well, Luke. Is like if you're going to be in pain, you know, 3-bet someone inducing, just jam.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's not like one of the common mistakes we've seen. Like they make a play, but they don't actually have a plan. Right.
Exactly.
So it's like 3-betting someone off 15 lines. So your range should be polar. So you 3-betting, so you don't have to Hollywood to fold, or you rod it snap.
Let's go, Timo! Brutal river, as we do see the king of clubs peek its head out. GG's.
Now he's
To Richard Porcal.
3.7 million is quite a nice shot.
Yeah.
Especially in the JackStar. I mean, we know where we are.
Well, we were talking about the celebrations earlier in the commentary, and Timon loves the celebration.
He does?
He loves it. He made a sick call last year on the F2 King High, and he stood up, flexed his muscles, and went, King High!
Much to his opponent's chagrin, I'm imagining.
I mean, Troy ended up winning, I think, but
That should be fun to watch.
he is very fun to play with.
Are we gonna red card him or?
Honestly, I want to get that over. I want that to be a thing that TDs hold on to when they just have red and yellow cards in their pockets and it's like, nah, orbit, get out of the tournament.
Yeah, I actually that was like a fun, fun. Like it's like an interesting idea that I was talking about it with Berkey and Monk on some other commentary booth about. We were talking about how Cabral is such an aggressive, how he reacts to the table, how it's so polarizing, and maybe something that would give the dealers more control is if you potentially could red or yellow card a player, now the dealer can take control of that player and give them the different bands or orbit them or whatever else it is. That was like an interesting kind of. I don't know how hard it would be to implement in game though.
Yeah, I mean that's giving a lot of control to the dealers. That, like, whilst not qualified tournament directors, sure, like some of them are going to be able to make the right decision, but also some of them might get a little bit carried away, right?
Absolutely. So I think that'll be something maybe for like late tournaments when like you've got the trusted dealers who you know are gonna kind of make the right decisions, kind of thing. And now Dion is going a bit mad with power, and he's opening Jack 4 off soon.
Yeah,
the Robbie.
The flat tire, I like to be calling it. You know why it's a flat tire?
I you know.
Do you? Igor, you know why it's a flat tire?
No idea.
What's a jack for? A jack. It might mean something else in Brazilian or Portuguese. Yeah. Do you guys have any nicknames for any hands?
I mean, back. I don't want to go too bad.
Luke looks like he's gonna get us cancelled. What's going
Back
on?
in the day when me and my friends used to play a bit of blackjack, and we used to have like nicknames for the different accounts.
Right.
And, yeah, +2, +3, +4.
Right. So how many casinos have you been banned from?
Well, I've been banned from Crown. Playing blackjack. The Wynn, and some other places in Vegas.
Right.
I won't go too much into that
Right.
stuff. But like, you know, like 2 would be like the Ducks.
Yeah.
And we could somehow
Work it into conversation.
Work into conversation, yeah. And then I can't remember what was 3s. 3s was
Like
some
crabs or something.
3s was crabs,
Yeah.
exactly. yeah.
Sailboats.
Sailboats.
And
and then,
5s would have been.
5s.
or something?
I think we made up some name for that.
Yeah.
And then like 7s were like hockey sticks and like
snowman.
Exactly, snowman. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we had a bunch of these different names for these different pocket pairs.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Because it was really funny. I was chatting with somebody when we were in the booth talking about the 2.5K PLO. We were saying that so many Hold'em hands have so many cool names. You've obviously got like aces is like the Blades or the Rockets, kings are Cowboys. You've got the ladies or Lady Gagas. The jacks are the Jonos, I believe, which is a new one that Krilly told me about.
Chinese aces.
It's-
That's Chinese.
yeah, I mean, I guess so. But then there's no real nicknames for any of the PLO hands. There's no specific PLO hand that has a nickname.
Yeah, too many.
And then Naj was sitting in your hand and goes, "Oh, I like the gun, which is the AK-47." And I'm like, "Yeah, right." I know."
It doesn't surprise me that Nige has some names. That's what
Troy's asking guys in the booth, what does the term toilet reg mean?
Is that a reg that's extremely depressed from
I just,
gasoline so long?
I don't know.
Or
I just call them Mizregs.
I don't know.
Mizregs
I
is
thought
my name
Mizreg.
for them. Yeah.
Is that Troy McLean?
Yeah.
Troy? I have no idea.
No idea what a toilet reg is.
You.
Somebody says that Jacks were the I'm never going to recover from this financially. Yeah, fair enough. Queen 10 for Timon. Cameron going to let go of the 5 Dewey. You played a lot of PLO, Krilly. Obviously, I saw you in the mix in the PLO as well. Is that a relatively new thing, Luke?
No, I've been grinding a bit of PLO recently. I played like maybe 100k hands online or something like that, just to kind of get into the mix. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. I think PLO 20s are one of like the biggest like edges that you can have if you're good at them, because I feel like a lot of people are making a lot of mistakes in them. It's very easy to make a lot of ICM mistakes in PLO tournaments when the equities run so close. So yeah, I've been playing those quite a bit. I've been enjoying them as well. Yeah.
What about you, Igor? Are you just a Hold'em guy, or are we going to see you in the mixed game streets or PLO streets or anything like that?
I'm definitely not a PLO guy. I'm just pure Holden. I played the 2.5K. I've done like a little bit of studies like 2 years ago, but I didn't practice too much, so I'm definitely not good. But I think like navigating those fields, especially in this 2.5K at APL, it's quite soft. So in my opinion, you don't have to be super skillful to be break even or profitable. Having a bit of knowledge about ICM, and if you play a little bit of tight and understand a little bit of the ranges, I believe you should be enough, because you've seen some crazy shits going on the PLO. So, but I'm definitely not a super expert at all.
It's funny that Luke and I earlier, he was asking me, are there any rules for the booth? I'm like, that's all right, just like keep the swearing to aluminum. He goes like, oh yeah, sick, welcome to the booth. What about you, Krilly? Obviously, you've been playing a bit of everything. Are you preferring 4-card or 5-card these days? I have to ask.
I mean, I mainly play 5 and 6 card cash, but if you're talking about tournaments per se, if you just have a general good feel for tournament dynamics, especially late stages, you can generally do pretty well, even if you don't haven't done a lot of PLO study. And I think a lot of PLO players are cash players anyway. So you do see them make a lot of mistakes because they just want to play a variety of hands. And the mixed guys say the same thing. You know, you can be not know the games too well, but if you just understand tournaments, you can do relatively well knowing dynamics. Yeah.
All right. Now, next question from Percy1Z in Twitch, which might ruffle a couple of feathers. Is there a Will Kassouf or Martin Cabral in Australian poker? Is there one specific guy that's always that guy? Is there? Do we want to ruffle any feathers? Do we want to call anybody out? Not really.
No one is that bad.
The only person that I can think of is a certain gentleman that won $1 million in JG recently.
I didn't even know what you're talking about. So
I mean, with a bottle of JD in hand is probably the way that I go about it.
oh,
okay.
no.
That's the only one that I can think of.
You,
but
you really think he's?
But not
as bad as
even,
those
like,
guys?
not really.
No way. I like that.
Yeah. I played with Cabral last year. I was on his table in Vegas, and honestly, he just if you give him a reaction, you're just the target.
Absolutely.
So he just feasts off it. He said some stuff when I sat down, and I just gave him nothing, and he kind of moved on.
Yeah.
So you just have to take it with a pinch of salt. To be
I got
honest.
very similar experience because, like, in the Bahamas, it was pretty much the same thing. I mean, the cameras were kind of following him around because he was just, creating so much drama.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was trying to, I guess, put me on tilt or do whatever. I mean, the problem I have with Cabral is that when you're sitting there and actually playing with him, it's like so obvious that what he's doing is just like performative because he's just saying the same stuff over and over again, and he's just like he's trying to generate an edge from what he's doing, which is
from
what makes it
annoyance, just
kind of
sheer
frustrating.
annoyance. Yeah.
Like he's not actually being his like natural self, obviously. I mean, like that's just like that's what it is. So it kind of fell flat for me a little bit, and I was like what the fuck are you doing, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was sitting there, it's like this is like you're like 40 years old. Like, why are you even?
Why are you acting like
why
you're
act
12
this?
years old?
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I think exactly once he realizes that he can't tilt you or like kind of get that edge from you, he kind of just he just moves on to the next person and does that kind of thing. So yeah, I think that what he does should be restricted. I think because sometimes it feels like it goes over the edge of like what would be even considered fair play. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I wouldn't say anyone's to that level where they actually try and get under people's skin. I think there are definitely people who are talkative, but it's more they just want to enjoy themselves on the table rather than get under someone's skin,
exactly.
per se.
Yeah. Whereas when he's doing it, he's trying to generate an edge from that, right?
Yeah.
That's his whole thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work when you're playing against like in the 100k or 250k buy-in at the end. There's all tilted at you for whatever you're doing. But when you're playing maybe like a lower stakes tournament like the main event or even the 25k in the Bahamas, like you'll come across a lot of recreationals who will react in the way that he's trying to generate or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I think the floor people should maybe be a little bit more proactive with him, but it's hard. It's a hard spot for them as well. So.
All right. Well, you mentioned earlier that you've played a couple of times with Foxen. I'm going to step out for a moment. Whilst I'm gone, can you chat to these guys about some of the other pros that you guys have been lucky enough to play on the same felt against? Personally, I got to sit in the 1K Mystery Millions the first time I ran at the WSOP. I sit at the table and I've got 2 guys wearing ACR pro patches, 3 European guys, 1 random person, and then Yeeta Chung sits down at my table. And then about 20 minutes later, D. Peters sat on my direct right, which was probably the nut low for a 1K table. So that's my example of the reg that I've played with. Give us a little chat about some of the guys that you've been lucky or unlucky enough to play with over the years. And I'm going to go for a quick collection service. I'll be back in a moment.
I mean, I've played with Negreanu before, and I've even gotten to mention in his vlog where he was getting quite tilted. Apparently I was rejamming on him too much or something, and he specifically mentioned like these young kids that keep rejamming on him.
And you were one of these young kids.
I was one of those young kids.
Did it make you feel nice being called young?
I did, yeah. I mean, I was like 26 at the time, so I played with him before, and then, I mean, apart from that, I'm not really sure.
I'm guessing you played with guys online.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've had some quite tough
Yeah.
FTs online.
Probably some of all the names that you can think of, you've probably played with, right?
Probably. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes even without me even knowing. Like, when you're
Yeah.
an ACR or the other like they could be anyone. But yeah.
Yeah.
What about you guys? Who's the most famous guy you play with?
Frighten was an interesting one
Yeah.
because it was the first time actually you've seen the big names because I'd never been to Vegas or the other place. So I sat down in the 8K main and there was a level 3 and I sat between Mateo and what's the other Spanish guy? Not Juan Pardo, Ido. So I was in between the two idols. And then 10 minutes later, Chidu sits on seat 9. And there's another 3 German ocean guys on the table. I actually friends with them, Clemens Heuter and some of the other guys. So Trident was a mix of, it was a good experience, like tough tables. But the first week was actually very soft. So, but the second week, and then you see all the big names.
Everyone comes in.
Yeah. And then becomes all the 10 and 15, 20Ks becomes very, very tough.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Curly?
I played with a few, I guess. I played with Isildur in one of the mixed games. Yeah,
which one was that?
It was like a 1508 game. So I
Was that
just
in Vegas?
in Vegas, yeah, went to flick one of those, and obviously he's a legend of the game.
Oh, yeah. I love those.
He was just getting a massage, enjoying life, and I remember I sat in this. I think it was like a 3K mystery at the win, and I didn't know who it was at the time until I started watching a couple of streams, but I had Barack Wizbrod, and then I had Artem Martirosyan and a few other top regs in the 3K, which was
Sounds like quite a
it was quite a tough table because I think every person was basically a reg with who plays 10Ks plus, all the way up to the nosebleeds. So that was a tough table, I'd say. But yeah.
Yeah, Trident is a funny experience because you played with a lot of VIP Asian guys, but
It's
also
a very
like,
polarized field, isn't it?
I was about to say it's a polarized field. You get like 4 recreations and like 4 elites.
You get the same thing in a lot of like different main events, like when you play the main event
Yeah.
in Aussie Millions, for example, right? Where it's like
Basically.
you're at a table with like 2 of the best players in the world, and then there's like 4 people you haven't seen.
Yeah.
That's the enjoyable part of mains. Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, day on of the main event, Aussie Millions AC, I had like Martin Finger on my directly right, David Nyan
Yeah.
on seat 9, seat 5. Then I had Johan, seat 7, and there was another rag on seat 2. Can't remember his name, but yeah, one of those tables, like probably one of the worst in the room.
Yeah. You always feel we actually had that experience today, didn't we?
Yeah, in the JackStar.
In the JackStar, it was me, Sean, Higo, and Martin Finger actually.
And 5 heads.
Which is not really the kind of table you expect to sit down at when you're still with 900 left in the JackStar.
1,500,000.
Exactly, yeah. But that was a little bit of fun before we broke.
Yeah, it was a good fun. Oh, Dion just decides to call ace-8, mixing up a strategy pre-flop here.
Yeah, I've played a little bit with Dion, a little bit online, and he loves the battle. He doesn't like folding, so I know we're in for some fireworks. Cause like there's a few boys that are just not going to back down. So Nick won't back down, and Timon's going to play for all the chips. So I feel like if you had to pick someone to win the tournament, it literally could be from this table, because someone's just going to end up with, like in the Centurion, just like this massive clown stack.
We have that huge stack. It's just such a these huge field tournaments. He does get that ace-8 through though.
Have you had any deep runs in an APL Millions, like one of the big events, Luke? Like throughout the years, like the JackStar Centurion main?
Well, the first year, I actually back-to-back final 2 tabled the main event. Back when it was a 1 million guarantee. I think I came like 11th and like 10th or something, like 2 years in a row. That was, it's quite a long time ago now. I mean, that was back when it was a freeze out. There was everyone used to like come in through these different APL like pub tournaments kind of thing, and yeah, so those are some like my earliest experiences, kind of playing tournament poker, honestly, because like I remember like 6 months into playing poker, I was in Sydney playing the APL Million, and it was like it was an experience that I never had before in my life, and you kind of like sit there because I just started out playing poker. I was like, this is what 20s are usually like, you know, but you don't really realize how special like this kind of event is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Talking about like another variance thing is, last 3 years, not the year before, I literally break the full series for like 30-40K without cashing. Or I actually cashed like one event out of the full 3 series playing every day. So it's just go back to variance, and sometimes it can be. I literally didn't change much from like 12 months period, and last year I had like an unbelievable series. So just people understands that anything could happen in a short period of time.
I think I would have liked to seen a jam here from 9-7 of hearts for 10 bigs. He would have ran right into the king queen of Matthew Russell, so he might have actually saved himself some money. But I think in general, I think this hand is probably just good enough to play as a shove. You don't really want to limp fold a hand like this.
What about
Just
10-8 off?
10-8 off. That's probably like verging the bottom of my jamming range, especially when you're in a big field tournament like this. I feel like people are gonna like not really be calling as wide as they should be. So I feel like I probably would definitely jam 10 off against the average player. But you know, it's obviously scary to do that.
I remember one of my first, I think it was my first APL, well, one of my first APL means maybe, main event, and Luke knocked me out of the main event one year, I remember.
What an ass.
He
I
got me
remember
good.
this one.
Yeah.
It was a 3-bet of the big blind.
Yeah, it was a 3-bet pot out of the big blind, and we
Yeah.
both flopped king high.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I had
flop
ace
king
king,
high.
king jack suited, I think. and
Yeah.
flop king high.
That's what you get for defending King Jack, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What are you
King,
doing?
King Jack lose your stack, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you guys answered any of the questions in the YouTube, or have you just been chatting amongst yourselves about nonsense? No, it's all right. I can do it. Good job. Question
That's a good
from-
question. The best advice for online players to transition into live.
That's the one that I was about to ask. Yeah. So, any advice for somebody who maybe hasn't ever played on actual felt before and just been grinding away online?
I've got a good answer.
Okay, please go.
Grab the mic.
If you
take
beat
charge.
online in an average buying of $5 online, you can beat any game in live scene in Australia. Like, I'll be like a bit.
I agree
The
with
$5 is maybe too low, but like anything around $10 average buying, you'd be able to
And
beat any game.
and whilst it may seem obvious to you, can you tell us what exactly you mean by beat average of $5? Like, what kind of like can you go into a little bit about what that actually means? Because it's very easy for somebody to win a $5 tournament, come into a chat and say, "Oh, I have beaten a $5 tournament. I'm going to play online," right? But what, in your eyes, does it mean to beat $5 ABI online?
I mean, if you're a long term winning player in a $5 ABI, which you know, I would probably classify that if you play between like maybe 2,000 to 3,000 tournaments. I mean that would be like guaranteed, or not maybe not guaranteed, but that would be like a good indication that you're a winning player or whatever at that stake. Then that would probably mean that you could almost beat any live field in Australia, just because. I mean, it just plays worse than a $5 ABI. I mean, you're just going to run into more regs in a $5 ABI than into a live tournament like this, honestly. Like, I think people underestimate when you're a live player just how many more hands online players get. So, like, if you've been playing online, just say, for like 1 or 2 years, you might have played 10 times more hands than someone who has played live for that year, for example. Or, I mean, you might have played 100 times more hands than someone played that year. So like, if you compare the two players, like someone has like almost 100x the experience that someone who's been playing live would play, right? And then if you try to balance that, if you try to compare those two players, I mean, obviously the person who's played 100 times more hands is going to be more used to all these different spots. They're going to be able to like adapt better to different players. They're going to be able to do all these different things like at a far better capacity than someone who, isn't really used to all these things, and they're going to be able to take beats better, for example, than someone who doesn't do that kind of thing. So I would say that Higor is almost certainly correct in that if you're beating a $5 tournament ABI online, you're probably ready to play almost any buy-in live online. Live.
It's pretty wild that you say almost any buy-in. You really think like almost anything?
I mean,
like for example, this series, right? You got the 5K at the end of the series. You think you could probably recommend that to one of those guys?
I mean,
You won't be losing too much, in my opinion.
Skill-wise, I think I would pretty comfortably say that you're okay. Bankroll-wise, maybe not.
Yeah.
Because I mean, bankroll is always the limiting factor when you're a poker player. You can only play tournaments if you have money to play them, right? And you might be the best player in the world, but if you only have 10 buy-ins for the stake that you're the best player in the world in, you were going to go broke, almost guaranteed, just because of variance.
I'm really glad you brought up the bankroll side of things because that was the next question that I wanted to ask you guys. I was standing on the deep freeze when it was running. It had 650 entries just after late registration. I was standing there with somebody, and somebody came up to me and they asked me, how many people do you think have rolled to play this tournament?
So just before we get into that question, just to give like one advice that I think I've seen a lot of the online guys come into live is not understanding the dynamics live and not adjusting to the population's tendency. So I'm glad to be surrounded like a lot of good players. So we do notice a lot of tendency in live that are completely different than online. So I'll give you an example: blind versus blind of 30 big blinds. So you don't see people playing that spot correctly because it is a complex spot to play. And if you, let's say, you got box 6 on the small blind and you're most likely going to limp and facing a raise, you're just going to jam. But when you're seeing those spots live, the people on the big blind, they just don't have enough raises. So whenever you rejam in your sixes, you're most likely going to have facing like a strong range. So understanding the sort of the dynamics that happens live, it might take you a little bit of time. So I think that could be something that will change a lot. And that's just one example. So there's a few.
I see the other boys nodding. Is this something that you guys have experienced as well? Transitioning from playing online to going live to seeing how wildly different things can be at the binds you're playing?
It's just a completely different
Yeah.
animal. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just- but when you play online, you play a $200 tournament. When you play a $200 tournament, you might be you're going to be playing against some of the best players in the world. It's just that simple because it's easy for them to just click onto a button and they're going to play it, and sometimes you'll be playing against them, right? So you're going to have to be playing as close to correct as possible to like not lose too much money against them. I mean, when you're playing in a live tournament, that just isn't the case. It's really that simple.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing that actually takes time with online guys coming to live fields, is just adjusting. And then also as well, I do see
I'm
like
sorry to cut you off, Curly. We've got
go
King
on.
7 against 9s. Dion's
Was it
called
still
off the
limp?
King
Was it
7.
limp call off.
Limp call off with the King 7 off suit.
Let's see how
Ace, Queen, 3. Needs a King to find the KO. 6 on the turn is safe for now.
Was 9 short?
1.1 million.
I
So
think it was like a sub 10 BB shot.
yeah, it's
Okay.
11 big blinds went into the middle.
Yeah.
And that's going to take, 14 bigs. It was 1.1 million I remember seeing. So it is going to take Dion down to sub 2 million.
Try that 1.5.
Yep. Sorry for cutting you off.
No, that's all right. It was an interesting hand. I think another thing as well is, especially when you're first starting out with studying hands and stuff, it's people are trying to plug hands in that are completely out of the game tree and stuff that
Yep.
it's really hard to, or they're looking to, make sure a play is correct per se, but like it's really hard to actually either give advice or study hands in live fields because a lot of the time players are doing things that are completely different to what theory says. That means you're adjusting and then we're just down rabbit holes.
Well, I want to ask you the question. How many times has somebody that you know is relatively new to learning poker come up to you after a tournament and said, I busted this tournament, but I ran it in Wiz and it was fine. And it's just like, man, it's entirely different.
I mean, look, you can go into a solver and I mean, there's a
You can know like everything to be fine.
You can kind of torture the solver into giving you the result that you want pretty often.
Yeah.
Like as long as you're not too far off, I'm sure you can find a sim that agrees with what you did. But I think a big part of being a good poker player is you have to be kind of realistic. You can't just,
You really have to be your own worst critic.
You do,
Yeah.
You can't just do a triple off and be like, oh, the solver takes this 25% of the time and jerk yourself off about it.
Yeah.
You have to kind of be like, you have to be like, are these
We need
ranges?
to keep these beers going. We're going to get Elmar.
Like, are we going to be realistic about what the actual ranges are that we're against? And
It's really funny. I literally just received a message from somebody saying King 7.0 GTO approved limp 14 effective in the Mega Deep and the JackStar.
yeah, that's, I'm not going to say that is GTO approved. But, maybe you could.
Maybe Dion approved.
yeah. DTO approved.
DTO approved.
Yep. Emran with aces.
Oh, we
facing
got a
us open.
very, very special guest coming to the future table, and chips will fly, guys.
Who's this?
Jason, the man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's not scary to put chips in, guys. I'll
Oh,
tell
yeah.
you
Oh, is that Jason Wang?
I'm not sure if his surname's Wang, but it's Jason.
He ran
Yeah.
deep in
Is
the
that the guy
PLO.
who won the
He won the PLO.
Right, that's it.
Yes.
Oh, my good Jason. My good friend.
Yeah,
Yes, I
yeah.
love Jason. Oh, there was he didn't bust me, but
So yeah, I think there's gonna be fireworks on this table. Yeah.
This is a very interesting table now. Very, very interesting table.
Back
None
over
of
to-
those guys like the button fold at all.
Back over to PK with the King 8 suited, facing the 3-bet from the aces, going to let it go. Don't worry, PSI, I'm not going to miss this question. We were talking, obviously, about playing the transition from online to live. With that question, I mentioned the deep freeze, how many people have rolled for it. Chat to us a little bit about what you think is actually a bankroll you should have to play this series. It's a dumb question because everybody's going to have different answers depending on whether you're working, whether you're not working,
absolutely.
how your results are, what this,
Yeah.
that, the
I
other, where you're
mean,
playing the
Also, what
self-dealt
your
stuff.
estimated edge is.
Exactly.
all
But
that
like,
kind of thing.
but like, is there anything that you kind of want to touch on that you might want to recommend to people as like a baseline if they want to start playing? Say, for example, they want to start playing the 1Ks here at this series. What do you think is a reasonable bankroll that they could have for this event?
I mean, it really just depends how much of a winning player that you think you are. But I mean, the general rule of thumb usually is like 100 buy-ins. I mean, that's what you'll hear people usually talking about. So like for a 1K buy-in, that would be 100K that you're comfortable kind of losing. But that might be, for a big field like this in a 1500, that might be too small. I mean, you could, I'm sure if you put this, the exact JackStar tournament in a tournament variance calculator, like you could very easily go in a 100K downswing. I don't doubt that would be like that wouldn't be like not like a 10 or 20% result. So if you're happy with 20% of the time going on a 100% downswing, on a 100K downswing, then having 100K bankroll is fine. If that's outside of your comfort zone, then you'll have to have more money.
And
Or
never
you'll have to sell
underestimate
action,
and
or-
never underestimate the downswing that you can possibly go on.
Oh,
Look
no.
at a calculator.
You never want to underestimate the downswing. Like, if you ask any, you can look at some of the best players online, and you can like look at different areas of their graph, and some of the times they'll be break even, sometimes they'll be losing, sometimes, and this is over like thousands of tournaments. So
Yeah.
it's live poker really is. It's just not real.
Yeah.
I don't think, you know what I mean? Like it's just like you're just kind of seeing the short-term variance, like kind of results or whatever, but you can't really make a judgment of who's actually a winning player or who's a good tournament player
Yeah.
simply based on results. I don't think.
Yeah, I'm going to hop over here, and I'm actually going to go straight to Krilly. The reason that I do that is because, Krilly, you mentioned that you started playing this with a business. You started playing poker with a business in your background. How did your bankroll kind of adjust with the business in the background, obviously kind of funding a lot of the poker that you were playing?
Well, I always kept my business income different, like separate from my poker income. So when I first started, I was getting backed. I met someone on the scene, and I've always been super strict with my bankroll, probably more strict than I should be. And that's just from a very,
Are we seeing a 4-bet
oh,
Sorry, he just
Juice.
3-bet from the Queen 9,
Jeez.
4-bet from the Ace 3, snap fold.
Wow.
Noodles gets out of there.
I love that.
Noodles gets slurped up, and we continue
That's
onwards. Sorry to
I
cut
like
you off,
that.
Krilly. We
No,
gotta
that's
play a very
okay.
Spicy one.
yeah, so I've always been really strict with my bankroll because early on I did research into variance calculators and looked at it, just like how much you can actually get wrecked and I've always kind of been risk adverse anyway. So, yeah, I've always been strict. Even when I was having income, I always kept it separate, and I always stuck between around the 100 buy-in mark. And even now, when I probably have more than 100 buy-ins and work, I still kind of stick to it. But obviously, it's kind of like how long is a piece of string,
Yeah,
right?
of course, yeah.
If you're working, you play a couple of series a year, you can just take shots, right? If you truly believe that you're a winning player, you can take shots. You don't have to sell. But if you are doing it long term as a profession with no other income, being on the conservative side is much better than being on the aggressive side.
Yep. And now, Igor, the question for you is, off the back of last year's result, how has your bankroll strategy kind of changed now that you've kind of had this big influx to it? Like, have you made the decision to now start firing higher tournaments, or has something changed with your online poker strategy? Like, what's kind of the difference now that you've had that kind of, we say, once in a lifetime result, winning the APL Million last year for 700,000+?
Honestly, bankroll.
Whoa.
Guys.
Dion?
Whoa, Dion.
Hello, Dion.
Hello, Dion.
You actually rolled.
Oh, it was really funny. There was somebody in the chat the other day that was asking what the individual ICM value was of like 5 different stacks at the table. And somebody in the chat said, no, just get them to take the chips to the cashier and ask. Anyway, sorry, Hugo, you got interrupted by the Queen 5-0 there. It was a
Yeah.
Queen 5-0 3-bet whack.
He's a boss.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I haven't. It didn't actually. Obviously, I added something to my bankroll management, bankroll, but I end up investing pretty much the full lot. So it didn't really change much of my firing. So I didn't end up firing up bigger stuff or anything like that. I was still playing the 20Ks, sells a bunch. I guess just more comfortable knowing that if something goes wrong or if I go into a downswing, I have some investments that I can, get some money off. But
Let's get you to swap microphones, Igor.
yeah. But honestly, yeah, I didn't start playing like 10Ks online or nothing like that. So I would say it literally maybe went up a little bit, but not too much at all. Yeah.
All right, so covering off a couple of questions. Firstly, Aiden Hildebrand on Facebook's asking, who are these clowns in the booth? Only clowns you, mate, but thank you for tuning in. No boat-looking boys in this chat.
Where is Aiden, by the way? Is he
Well,
just not up here? Or like, what's the...
Aiden now qualifies as a business rec.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Does he?
Aiden's working full-time. He's going to be here
Okay.
tomorrow. He's got the day off tomorrow. He's going to come and play the main.
Hopefully I'll get to see him.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll chastise him a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, so Aiden's going to be here tomorrow. And we've got a question from John, which is, for the booth, what percentage of the Centurion field do you think were backed and or had swaps? So I'm going to change this question a very little bit as we press pause with the King Queen offsuit rip under the gun. Jesse Brighton Rowe finds the jam. I don't think any of these guys in the blinds are going to
Do you guys like this jam?
It looks like
for 17 bigs.
no. I don't. It's 11 and a half or 12 bigs.
It was a 12 bigs.
It was 960k, so 12 blinds.
That's one of the spots that I've been adjusting a lot to, where I probably won't have many gems at all from under the gun, even off 12.
Yep.
I think like King Queen's one of the best hands you can raise and, take a decision, probably raising fold, but I wouldn't gem myself. It's just a good hand to raise and see what happens.
So obviously there's been a little bit of a, for lack of a better phrase, markup epidemic in Australia.
Yeah.
It's been memed. People have been chatting about it all the time. But I feel like we've been having this conversation for 2.6 decades.
Is it just Australia or is it just everywhere? Right?
Honestly, well, it's interesting because it's interesting you say exactly that. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, Constantine. You might know Kobe.
Oh, yes.
A German reg.
Love Kobe.
About markup in Germany, about what plays it over there. And he said that it was not very common at all.
Most people sell the face in Germany,
not face,
or
but
just
like they would sell like 1.1 or like 1.2 maybe. Yeah. But like I feel like in Australia,
Germans are very realistic though. That's their kind of shit.
Well, I mean, in the 40s they were, but anyway. What's your opinions on markup? Because like we had the conversation yesterday, people. As Dion's decided to take the computer for a spin for 2.1 million, he's decided that he's had enough.
Yikes.
Queen 7-0, Imran.
Sure. Do you think that someone's just gonna go, nah, you've been doing this too much, and then call off?
Yeah.
Right?
And I think think Imran is just gonna flick it in even against a standard rejam range, I guess, for this many bigs. But I don't know. Is Dion? You played with Dion before? You were commenting on him. What's his?
I'll tell you about Dion when the mics are off.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
I can't say that I would recommend this rejam for the average person. That's for sure. There's not too many reasons, like not many exploits I can think of to
Yeah.
to make this a good play. Let's see what he just.
I have one.
Yeah.
He's had enough. One chip.
Queen 7-0. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see
So what do you reckon, boys? Queen of clubs or spades?
Yeah.
I'm hoping
3
it's
hearts
got
on the
my
flop.
sanity that Nine holds.
We're saying 3 hearts on the flop as a request. Let's see what happens. The flop. Jack window. King 6
okay.
behind. Turn card. Another jack. Counterfeit outs.
Counterfeit outs,
King or
absolutely.
queen.
Oh my God.
Dion.
Oh no.
Up to 3.89 million. And
Wait, that poor gentleman. He's got a story now for all the boys at home.
Yeah. JackStar's tough.
Yeah.
tough tournament. Anyway, now that we've witnessed Queen 7 zip it in for 25,
Yeah, that
back to the
was-
topic of markup, because somebody asked me in the chat, 1.5x markup is something that got thrown around for some reason. And I kind of said haphazardly that in a field like the JackStar, there might be 15 or fewer players that I would happily buy at 1.5. So what do you guys think of this? Because obviously selling is a part of being a professional poker player, but surely we can't be doing this, right?
Well, I think the first thing you have to, when you're buying someone at a markup, you got to remember that when you're buying someone, I mean, you're like hoping to make money, right? So like, for example, if they theoretically are at 1.5, if you're buying them at 1.5, then you're breaking even.
Yeah.
Right? So like if you're trying to make money, you might try to get that 1.5 person at 1.4 or a lower price than what their price actually might be. So that's like the first thing that I would probably like think about when I'm like trying to buy action. And then the second thing is like I would agree with you that it's very tough to get 100%, 50% ROI in any tournament. Even a tournament as soft as this, you're gonna be, it's gonna be the top, 1-2% of the field. They're gonna be generating that huge ROI. So I think that if you're doing that, if you're buying the action, kind of it's like having a bit of fun and just trying to like have a bit of a gamble and do whatever, then like I guess it doesn't really matter. But if you're actually trying to make money, then I think most of the time when you're buying someone at over a 1.2, 1.3 markup, you're going to very, very often be losing money on average, I would say, yeah.
I'm curious on your thoughts, Igor, because obviously you're involved in a stable, you're involved in a crew. Once you kind of got out of that and you're on your own, what were your thoughts as far as selling pieces in tournaments or something like that? Or I don't want to assume. I don't know if you're still on your own, but like,
Yeah,
I
you
would
mean
assume
when
so.
I was getting back in Brazil?
Yeah, compared to now, like obviously you're by yourself now. Being back in the day is a bit different.
Yeah.
Now you kind of have the decisions totally up to you.
Yeah. Well, when I was getting back by a team in Brazil, I just didn't have a single money on. So I was getting a free coach and a bankroll. So it was a win-win for me. Right now, yeah, I've never been back since that. So I always played for myself and sell actions for the big stuff. But I'm in the same page with Luke. I think people are very unrealistic with markup. Most of those regulars who's charging ridiculous markup, they don't understand fundamentals and variance. So they assume they have 180% ROI in those events, but they just never have that actually. They're happy if they break even.
Have 100% ROI in a tournament.
100%, yeah.
With rake and everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like.
Like you mentioned Chu earlier. If Chu played this entire series, like what realistically, what would you buy him at? If you had the opportunity to buy a piece of him, 10%
That's a good
for a
question.
whole
I
season?
have a
That's a
question
good question.
exactly goes close by. I'll let Luke answer that first.
I mean, for some tournaments, I would take him at like maybe 2.0 or something. Like maybe the JackStar when it's like a huge field, whatever. Like decent.
Even
structure.
with how high variance the
tournament.
structure can be.
Well, I mean, he's like he's like a fantastic player who's probably got like a 20-25% ROI online.
Yeah.
And as